Yes, squad, and welcome to today's training. So I think this is going to be quite an influential training. Someone just confirm you can hear me all right now. I don't know what's happened with the music there. I'll try and find out. So I did one of these before, and most of the trainings are quite planned. As you know, I kind of pick a subject, I go into it. It might be confidence, anxiety, stress, overwhelm, overcoming fear, any of these things. And I did one of these before, and I'm like, why haven't I done this again? And this is literally organized, semi rambled journaling. So sometimes a lot of you say, of course, we've got the planner, right? With this, the tips, the kind of structure to journal. But journaling for me, and this is exactly what I've done here, is like I'm struggling right now. There's things I'm struggling with. There's things that aren't aligning. There's things that aren't. I'm not struggling like, oh God, I'm depressed, but I'm like, I'm not on fire. I'm not in peak flow. And we all want to be in peak flow. And I know when I'm in peak flow, other people around me are in peak flow. And I'm like, what's not quite aligning here? What isn't going to plan? Why aren't I connecting with my own life? So what I'm going to go through is that I would, each one of these things as well, I would kind of write them down, because this was me going back into old journals and thinking, this is powerful as well, Clyde. You should do this. I keep all my journals and I've never shown them to anyone else, and I never will. And the reason why, even though I'm sharing some with you today, the reason why is because I think if I ever let somebody else read my journal, or I ever started posting it in the Facebook group, even me, and we all do this, I would start to filter it. Can't really say that because I'm not sure I want the whole world to know that I feel that way. So that is a reason why, whilst it's not an acceptance and validation, I think there are certain things that, if you started to like, right, I'm going to write my deepest, darkest thoughts and I'm going to share them with everyone every day. I don't think they would be your deepest, darkest thoughts. They would be 50% of it. This is like when I said at Mindset Mastery, this is why so many people destroy their lives. This is why half of fucking England, excuse my language, are on sertraline or other drugs because they have a cocaine or a fucking alcohol problem. That is the bottom line. Because they go to the poor old GP, who they then destroy because he didn't help. And they say, I'm feeling this way. All this bad stuff has happened. My energy, this. They tell all of this story about how bad life is. They leave out the fact that they're drinking a bottle of wine every day. They leave out the fact they're doing 3 bags every weekend. They leave out the fact that they just fill their body with junk food. They leave out all of this stuff and they just make it all about this hormonal problem in the head. Because it's easier to say that. It's easier to say that than say, do you know what? I'm drinking too much. Do you know what? I'm doing too much of this. Do you know what? I'm in a toxic relationship. Let's brush all that stuff under the carpet and just make it about mental health. And a lot of people do that. I'm not saying all, okay? Or anyone pulls me down and says depression isn't a real thing. It is, and it can be fatal. But there's a high percentage of people that do that. And that's why my journal stays private. Because again, why do you think, and it's very often men, why do you think said man goes to the doctors and talks all about his mental health, but leaves out the food, the toxic behavior, the drugs, the pornography, the gambling, the toxic relationship, the booze, and all the other stuff, which is the real problem? Because he's ashamed. He's embarrassed, doesn't want to share it. And deep down, probably still likes doing the sniff and the porn and the gear every weekend. And if he goes and says, oh, that's the real problem, then he has to stop doing it. He has to let go of that person. He has to let go of that identity, which is what we're going to come on to. So nearly all stress, worry, and anxiety, these are the ones I want you to write down. Nearly all stress, worry, and anxiety comes from life not fitting your pictures of how you believe it should be. So in your head, you have this picture of how life should be. And I guarantee you, there we go, a bit brighter now. When those pictures don't match up with reality, that's when you get stressed, anxious, and worried. When you get stressed, anxious, and worried, that's when you start with a negative behavior. Because you have this ideal view of how this is how people should treat me. This is how my partner should behave. This is how my kids should behave. This is how my boss should talk to me. This is how much money I deserve. This is how much weight I should have lost at the end of the week based on what I did. This is how everything should be based on these pictures that I've created in here. And when they don't match up, boom, explosion, stress, anxiety, overwhelm, reactive, anger, frustration, screw everyone, screw the world, life's not fair. Okay, so that's one big thing to take away. Now, another thing I want you to take away, and if you always think that life's going to match up with your pictures in your head, then you're arguing with reality, because it won't. Why? Because what did we discuss yesterday? That life will always be uncertain. So the next thing that I journaled, so I have to understand, that was my number one thing that I wrote down for me. I have to understand that I have this idea of how life should be, how my body should look, how fast I should run, how people should treat me, how many sales I should make, how you should behave as clients, how I should behave, how Logan should behave, and all these things. And when they don't match up perfectly, I get stressed. So I need to stop that. The second thing is, and this nailed it for me yesterday, when you are not forcing things and you are just enjoying what you do, you will attract all the love and success you've ever desired. That was a journal entry from about 16 months ago when I went back. And I'm like, that nailed it for me at the time. Why have I stopped doing that? What am I doing at the minute? I'm trying to force my business in every single area of it. Force leads, force sales, chasing. And then when I don't get what I feel like I deserve, I get frustrated, angry, and resentful. Exactly what happens with so many of you with fat loss. You're forcing it every week. Desperate to drop the pounds, desperate to get the body. And then frustrating when you don't get what you feel like you deserved with the work that you did. Exactly where I've been at with my business. When you just focus on enjoying training, enjoying your work, enjoying your relationship, enjoying your kids rather than trying to make them behave a certain way that fits in with your ideal head of how kids should behave, trust me, you will attract everything that you've always wanted. And that's where I'm certainly at now as a human for the next 4 weeks. Now, don't get this confused with I'm going to stop working hard. I'm going to work harder. I'm just going to stop forcing things. And I'm drill down on this further on in the training. So the next thing I wrote down, and I must credit Peter Sage for a lot of these, because this was when I was hugely into, as I still am, Peter Sage. I love him. Absolutely love him. So it's only right that I credit him for these learnings as well, because most of today's learnings is what he taught me. Listen to this and write this down. If you're struggling with coming out of your comfort zone, not doing what you said you would, not pushing yourself, not testing yourself, a ship in a harbour is a safe ship, but that's not what ships were designed for. So many of you are living a safe life, in a safe house, in a safe relationship, in a safe job. You weren't born to be safe. You were born to be sensational. Next one, before I come into the training, these are the affirmations. I broke it down into sections. Nobody else would even understand my journal, so it wouldn't even matter if I shared it. Number one, this is another of Peter's lines. You become who you hang with. Are you surrounding yourself with the right people? Or are you going for a jog or a walk with people who want to blame, complain, and justify? Do you come away from that walk or that run feeling energized or drained? You know, I've gone through this with several friends in the past. I refuse to speak to you at the moment. I love you, but I refuse to speak to you because I'm not helping you. You keep calling me and you keep telling me the same fucking boring story. I don't care. It's not that I don't love you. I just don't care because you've already told me it's wasted energy. And me being there after I've already been there once and given you the empathy and the love that you need and the plan to move forward, to just go for another walk and listen for you to tell the same story about how bad life is and how it's different for you and what you're struggling with, I'm not helping. I'm becoming wood to the fire. So I'm actually doing you a disservice as a friend. I'm adding to your problem by giving you another platform for you to moan on, for you to blame on, for you to complain on. I don't want that for you. I want you to move forward. I want you to be happy. I want results, success, fulfillment, prosperity, energy. So if you want to come for a walk and you want to talk about that, I'm there with you, sister. 6 a.m. tomorrow. You want to go moan, go find other people who want to go moan. I'm easy. I love you either way. Makes sense. Someone drop me a yes if that makes sense. Have you been in those friendships? You've been in those friendships when you're just literally fueling each other's fire. You're giving each other a platform to moan on. That's not a friendship. That's not true love. That's holding each other back. Quickest way to change your life. Number one, quickest way to change your life. And I'm upscaling this because I'm going to create a new one. I'll be in touch with some of you about it. I'm going to create an inner circle of around of about 12 people who are my new peer group. And the entrance prerequisites and qualifications will be very high because I need to get around people with bigger energy, bigger goals, bigger dreams, bigger missions. And I'm going to arrange to meet up with them once a month. So again, write that down. Quickest way to change your life, change your peer group. So when we can begin to stop forcing things, imagine if you just started to enjoy eating healthy, started to enjoy running. Let's even take Luke Birch as an example. Is he running because he's desperate to lose body fat? Desperate to jump on the scales on Sunday to see he's lost another pound? Desperate to see change in his pictures? And then getting angry, resentful, and frustrated because it doesn't happen. No, he's just enjoying running. He's just enjoying inspiring people. And when you can stop forcing, start enjoying, you will start attracting everything you've ever wanted. Write that down. If I can stop forcing and start enjoying and start attracting, think about this in terms of a relationship, right? How many people are desperately seeking a partner, desperately seeking someone to love them, trying to force a relationship on 17 different dating apps, begging for love, begging for attention, begging for sex? Said that one just to make Sarah Collins laugh and fall off the treadmill. But they're trying to force everything. Force happiness, force money, force success, force significance. Whereas if you think, if I can just like start enjoying life, if I can just be happy, positive, driven, on a mission with purpose, fulfillment, I'm going to attract the woman I've always wanted. She's probably not going to be attracted to the angry, reactive, frustrated, negative guy who's just trying to force everything all the time. And this is the difference between, again, moving from victim mode to achiever mode. And one thing we have to do in order to achieve this is we need to give up the need for control. And rather than constantly trying to control, we need to have more faith, more belief, more trust that if that's why I played that song that nobody heard. Can't even remember what it's called. I think it's from The Greatest Showman. It's called This Is Me. Can't even find it. This Is Me by Kayla Settle. It's the Greatest Showman Assemble. This is me. So if I can just start being me in body, in business, in life, and just have faith that if I can just be me, right, I'll attract everything I've always wanted. And I learned this a year ago, and it's like I've forgotten it. So for the next 4 weeks, I've made a commitment. I'm working hard, but I'm not chasing sales. I'm not forcing people to work with me. I'm not begging people. I'm not looking for love. I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm not chasing women. Not doing any of these things. I'm not trying to control anything. I'm not going to try and make anyone behave a certain way, make anyone do anything they don't want to do. I'm just going to focus on being passionate about what I do. And having faith, belief, and trust, if I'm just passionate, that I'll attract everything that I've always wanted. And I knew this 12 months ago, but I'd forgotten it, which is why I went back to the old journal. Imagine every day just waking up and saying, I love life. I love people. I'm grateful. I love challenge. I love everything. I love life. And we're getting up every morning just going, I love life. I love the world. I love people. I love all people. All people are just trying their best. There's not good people or bad people. There's not negative people or positive people. There's just people. And I love them all because we're all different. So moving on. This was an old journal entry. And if you're struggling with fat loss, this is going to be massive for you. So first of all, two other points. This is how ADHD my journal is. So imagine what I've just been talking about there. Then the next thing written down is stop settling for a life that you weren't born to live. It's another great journal entry. That's another great affirmation. But this one is, this comes down to business, food, fat loss, everything. And you've heard me say it before. You know what you should be doing, but you're just not doing it. Why is that? You all know you should be tracking food every day. Half of you aren't. You all know you should be training. You're not doing it. 130 plus other people know they should be on this mindset session that they're not. 50 of them will be watching it on replay because they're busy now. The other 50 won't ever see it. They know they need to work on their mindset. They're just not doing what they know. And this was something I wrote down, which is fascinating. Why do smokers smoke? Now, I get the whole addiction thing. That's not what I'm getting at. But it's fascinating, right? Every single smoker knows it's killing them. They shouldn't do it. It's destroying their health. It's reducing the amount of time they're going to live. It's meaning they might not get to see their kids get married. It costs them a fortune. They stink. It ruins their teeth. It's money they could be spending on their kids. It's disgusting. And even now, to a level where you look at the packets and it's like, bleh. Who's seen a cigarette packet recently? Heart disease, lung disease, cancer. It's people that are upset about people dying about cancer that are still smoking fags. How fascinating is that? Every single person who smokes knows they shouldn't smoke. Every single person who smokes knows it's killing them and destroying their life and costing them money. Half of them are skin, but they still do it. They know they're going to die, but they still do it. They know they're risking cancer, but they still do it. Same theory. Why do fat people eat junk food? They know it's killing them. They know it's going to make them fatter. They know it's destroying their energy, their confidence, their life, their self-worth, their self-belief, their happiness, their sex life, and everything in between. Yet they still keep shoveling the Mackie D's in. Guys so overweight, they haven't fucking seen their own dick for the last 10 years. Yet they're still eating 5,000 calories of junk on a daily basis. Guys so overweight that their skin will never recover even if they lose weight. 25, 27, 29, 30 stone, can't even walk up the stairs. Everyone knows what they should be doing. So why aren't they doing it? And I proper journaled this out. It's because there's 3 different levels here. And that level where everybody's stuck, even though it's a word that's a great word, is the intellect level. You have the knowledge. You know what you should be eating. You know you should be exercising. You know you shouldn't be smoking and drinking. You know you shouldn't be gambling, watching porn, sniffing cocaine, and everything in between. You know damn well you shouldn't be doing it. But yet you still do it. That's because you're only at an intellectual level. And then we bring in an emotional level. I'm going to die. I'm going to lose my partner. I'm not going to get to see my kids grow up. I'm not going to get to be my son's best man. I'm not going to see my little girl walk down the aisle. I'm going to go bankrupt. I'm going to lose everything. That's the next level. That's when we start to get to, and this is when my mind will go right back to what I just spoke about at the beginning. We've moved to an emotional level. Great, this is progress. Cheers to Pepsi Max Cherry. So I've gone from intellectual, I've got the information, I know what I should do, I know what I should do, what I should do. Right, now I've got some emotion. If I keep smoking fags, Logan's not going to see me grow up. If I keep eating Mackie D's, I'm going to be a fat dad. If I don't do any exercise, I'm probably going to die. Fucking hell, I'm being a terrible role model. If I don't stop drinking, my wife's going to leave me. If I don't stop gambling, I'm going to lose this house. And then my son won't have anywhere to live. You get what I'm saying, yeah? So all of a sudden, I've gone from intellectual to emotional. I know what I shouldn't be doing and why. I know what I should be doing and why. And I know the emotional attachment to the two things. Guess what? All people that have emotional and intellectual, what are they still doing? The same thing. Still smoking, still drinking, still eating shit, still blaming, complaining, justifying, making excuses, even though they've gone through those 2 levels of consciousness. If anyone can guess the 3rd level or the next level of shift and what will move to you becoming the person you've always wanted to be and attracting and achieving everything you've always wanted, in the comments, I've already said it. Kind of. And you post it now, you will win a can of Pepsi Max. The next level and the strongest shift you will ever go through, and why 99% of people stay stuck, and why the guys go to the doctors and don't tell them about the cocaine and the booze and the junk food and the toxic relationship and the gambling and the porn. That was just me on a Friday night. No, I'm joking. Kind of. Because it requires an identity shift. The next level after intellectual and emotional is an identity shift. You have to become a non-drinker, a non-smoker, a non-junk food eater. You have to become a person who trains, takes responsibility, ownership, acceptance. Person who's a role model, a person who's driven, focused, doesn't make excuses, goes to bed early, gets up early, gets shit done, irrelevant of how they're feeling, stops lying, stops blaming, stops complaining, stops moaning. And that is a huge identity shift. I wrote this down. What do you want to become, right? This is where people become weak. Do you want a cigarette, mate? No, I'm trying to quit. That person is going to smoke. Do you want a drink, mate? No, I'm trying to stay off the booze. Do you want a sniff, mate? No, I'm trying to stay off the coke. Yes, Luke's nailed it. Different, right? There's a huge difference between somebody saying to me now, do you want a cigarette, mate? No, I'm trying to quit. No, do I fuck? I'm a non-smoker. I don't smoke. Different. Luke's nailed it before I even said it. It's very different. Do you want a drink, mate? No, I'm teetotal. Should we skip the gym tonight? No, I don't make excuses. Should we get a takeaway? No, I respect what I put in my body. Do you want to go for a walk and we'll put the world to rights? No, I don't agree with negative self-talk. Very different. And all those people who are still stuck are full of shit. They don't want to let go of their identity. They still like being Lee, who has a drink and a sniff every Friday. Why? Because it's easier than quitting and it allows them to escape their soul-sucking life for a few hours because they're not willing to do the work to create one that they don't need to escape from. This is why businessmen won't make the sales call. They'd rather stay skint than feel uncomfortable. This is why people won't quit smoking, because they still enjoy a cigarette. This is why people won't go for a run, because they prefer the comfort of the sofa. And in order to move, they have to go from intellectual knowledge, information, to emotional attachment and leverage, to an identity shift, to becoming a new person, to letting go of the person they want to be. And most people can't do that. Most people who eat shit and go to the chippy every Friday don't want to stop it because it's the only thing they enjoy. I'm going to come on to, on Monday's training, I'm going to come on to something I said to a friend. I'm going to mention it now, but then I'll go through it in detail. Imagine your best friend saying this to you. I'd do anything to have a body like yours and a life like yours. No, you wouldn't. You're a fucking liar. What? I love you, but you're a fucking liar. You wouldn't do anything. You won't even get up and go for a fucking walk each morning. So don't tell me that you would do anything to have a body and a life like mine, when the reality is you are not willing to do anything. But we'll come on to that. And a true friend would tell you that. That's true love. A normal friend would go, oh, thanks, mate. Appreciate that. No, be honest. Most of you guys connect with me because I'm brutally honest. So again, here are different levels, right? I'm really going on, aren't I? Could go on this one for ages. Like 20 pages yet. It's going to be more trainings. So, this is where I've gone off on a tangent. These are little mindset shifts as well. I'm going to use Luke as another example. Do you want to be someone who goes to the gym to lose weight because they're fat and they're unhappy? Or do you want to be an athlete? What a different level of consciousness that is. Think about that. I'm just going to go and train because I want to get really good at running. I want to improve my half marathon time. I want to improve my one. You don't have to be a top level athlete. Don't get that confused. I want to improve my time for 1 kilometer, 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 200 miles. It doesn't matter. You are where you are. But that's what's going to expand your awareness rather than like being a person who just wants to lose weight because they're unhappy. That's when you'll force things. I want to eat healthy because I want to nourish my body because I love my body, not because I hate it. How different does that sound? Oh, I'm tracking calories because I'm fat and I need to lose weight. Looking after myself because my body's the only place I've got to live and I care about it. So again, so how do we start to set ourselves up to win? And I'm like, Lee, what have you stopped doing? Like my energy's gone from 10 to 7. Not critical, but now I've got enough of awareness to realize, right, I don't want that to get to a 5 because a 5 is struggling, a 3 is depression, 1 or 2 is borderline suicidal again. So kind of, right, why am I 7? Why am I 7? Why do I write my energy levels down every morning? Why? Awareness. Awareness of how I'm feeling. What are the 2 questions you've got on your planner if you ever bother to complete it? How do I feel physically this morning? How do I feel emotionally? 3 days on the row, emotionally, I wrote a 6 or a 7. That for me is a fucking alarm clock. You need change, Lee. So how can I increase my chances of success back to my peer group? Shrinking it down, only getting on board with people that share my values, that are on the same mission as me. I can still love the other people. I just don't want to spend time with them. Don't want to be around that energy. So before we stop this, I want to do this little bit on kids, actually. So what can we do to move forward now? Because I want to leave you with some practical stuff. Well, think about each day. Are you setting yourself up to win? Have you got a list with all your kit ready for the 3 peaks? Or is it still scatty? Well, if it's scatty, you're not setting yourself up to win. Can't show you because it's in the lounge, but every single item of mine is laid out with a list, ready to pack. Yes, of course, my brain's a little bit different, so I have to do that. But why wouldn't everyone just do that? ADHD or not, doesn't make any difference. No one wants to forget anything. So you can make it easy for yourself and set yourself up to win, or you can start trying to pack that shit at 9 o'clock tonight when you're tired and make it difficult for yourself. And then realize that you haven't got any warm socks. And then start to panic. And then starts to create stress and overwhelm. So morning routine. These are just simple ones, right? These are simple things that I journaled again. That every single one of us can do these. And to be fair, these aren't big things, guys. Come on. Number 1, morning routine. Solid. Gym kit out, ready to go. Kids' clothes, ready for school. Alarm clock downstairs next to the coffee machine where there's a water, not in the bedroom. Socials off, 9 p.m. latest. So simple. Go to bed earlier. Plan your food. Get off your phone. Leave it in the kitchen. Those are simple, simple, simple things. Post your exercise every day in the group for accountability. So what you will be surprised, right? I'm going to rehash that. Everyone can move forward doing that. Say, hydrating, planning your food, get to bed early, get your gym kit out, train, plan your training, meet a training partner, train with a friend, post in the group for accountability. Yet how many people over the years, and I've like, no, mate, you don't. They forget all of that stuff and they go, oh, I think I need to go back to my why. Okay, well, you go and get a pen and pad out and spend 3 hours trying to redefine your why, which is your emotional reason for being and what you want to do. Because guess what? Well, as long as you're doing that, you don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to get your kit out ready. You don't have to find a training partner. You don't have to post in the group for accountability. You don't have to train the food. You don't have to get to bed early. You don't have to do any of these little things that are going to move you forward and skyrocket your success, because you can go and avoid it by doing something else, like redoing my why that I've already done 25 times. Again, I'm not saying that your why is most important, but if you haven't trained or tracked your food for 5 fucking days, that's most important. Because that's commitment. And commitment is doing what you said you would do long after the mood you said it in has gone. So get focused, get clear, and get committed. Now, I'm just going to leave on this other little knowledge bomb before. Yeah, because this is just not going to make any sense. It's about 10 different trainings. So the other thing that I briefly journaled out in this period of my life, you guys will know when I was working with Kieran. So internal validation, this could be massive with kids as well. Internal validation in the mirror on your own, not external validation. So are you doing things for yourself to feel good, or are you doing things for the approval of others? And this is mental with kids. You know how many individuals have gone into careers purely based on the approval of their parents? Well, everyone in our family has always been in medicine, so you have to be in medicine. Well, no, I don't. Do you know how many people have gone into the military because their dad was in the military? Do you know how many people support a football team because their dad supports a football team? Do you know how many kids have been forced into things they don't want to do because of their parents' ideal pictures of how they want their kids to be? Like even tests is a perfect one. Pass this test and you'll do that. Pass this test and you're good enough and you'll be accepted. No, fuck off. I don't need to pass a test to know that I'm good enough. I don't need to have a badge to fit in. I don't need any of those things. And imagine this, and I think this is so powerful. Imagine being able to say to yourself, your best friend, or your kids, do you know what? You are enough. You always have been. Whatever you want to do, I'm going to back you 100%. And no matter what happens, win, lose, pass the test, fail the test, get the job, don't get the job, I'll love you anyway. Completely. To Logan, no matter what you do, I will love you anyway. You don't have to do anything to prove to me, son, that you are good enough. Because I already knew you are. You are, the day you were born, you were good enough. You always have been, and you always will be. So whatever you do, I'll support you in it. But I want you to know whatever happens, just like I love life and I love people, I'll love you no matter what. Not I'll love you if you do this. I'll love you if you achieve this. I'll validate you if you do this. I'll pay you money if you do this. Parents that do that. I'll pay you money if you do so well in your A levels. That's starting a very toxic mindset. Kids only going to do something to get something. The opposite of understanding that life is a contribution-based experience. If we want to get more, we give more. So other little things we can do very, very quickly is discipline your morning routine right now to stay grounded. Okay. Things I do. I have my AG1 greens drink. I do my stretches. I meditate. I practice gratitude. I clear my head. I visualize my day. And this helps me get grounded. It helps me connect to happiness. And then as soon as I've done that, I'll do half an hour of an audio book or personal development. Again, it doesn't matter which book. It could be one of these, it could be your own one, it could be anything. But that's what journaling for me is in the morning. It's my personal development. It's my routine. It's getting this stuff out. It's knowing that I'm only a 7 today. What can I do to improve that? Right. I need to jump on and do some of Peter's learnings. I need to jump on and do some personal development because it's my private conversation with myself to understand what I need to do to move forwards. Guys, I hope that's been helpful. I love you all. Have an amazing day.